Picture this. You're standing in the Arctic. It's negative 40 degrees. The wind is so brutal it feels like knives cutting into your skin. You have minutes before hypothermia sets in. Your only hope? Build a house out of the very thing that's trying to kill you, frozen water. It sounds absolutely insane, right? Like trying to stop a fire by pouring gasoline on it. But here's what nobody tells you. An igloo can keep you so warm inside that you'll be sitting there in a t-shirt, while outside the air is cold enough to freeze your breath mid-exhale. We're talking about a 60-degree temperature difference, created with nothing but snow and body heat. But there's a dark twist to this survival miracle. If your igloo works too well, if it seals too perfectly, you'll fall asleep warm and comfortable and never wake up. The same design that saves you can suffocate you. So how does a shelter made of frozen water keep you from freezing, and why does perfection become deadly? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll understand one of humanity's most genius survival hacks and the invisible killer hiding inside it. First, we need to destroy a myth that movies have burned into our brains. A real igloo is never built with solid, transparent blocks of ice like the cubes in your drink. If you tried building a shelter with clear, crystalline ice, you'd be making a fatal mistake. Because solid ice is absolutely terrible at holding heat. Ice is dense, it's compact, and cold passes through it like it's not even there, turning your shelter into a giant refrigerator. Living inside a house made of solid ice would be like trying to stay warm by wrapping yourself in a suit of metal armor. Sure, it blocks the wind, but it'll suck every ounce of heat from your body in minutes. So what's the real secret? Igloos are built with snow, specifically wind-packed snow, not ice. And snow isn't just white water, it's something far more sophisticated. If you looked at a block of igloo snow under a microscope, you'd see it looks almost exactly like a kitchen sponge, only a tiny fraction is actual solid material. The rest, about 95%, is air, trapped, motionless air. And in the world of survival, still air is the best insulator that exists. It's the invisible barrier that stops temperature transfer dead in its tracks. It's the same trick you use when you put on a down jacket in winter. The feathers don't warm you. It's the air trapped between the feathers that prevents your heat from escaping. When the Inuit cut blocks of compressed snow, they're not stacking frozen water. They're building walls of static air. So when you're inside an igloo, you're not surrounded by ice, you're wrapped in a giant, incredibly efficient thermal blanket. The walls act like white cork or styrofoam insulation. This material creates a shield that stops the outside temperature cold, literally. Even if there's a storm outside raging at temperatures that could freeze metal solid, inside those snow walls, the heat exchange comes to a halt. But perfect insulation is only half the equation, because an igloo by itself doesn't generate heat. If you build an igloo and leave it empty, the temperature inside will be exactly as deadly as the temperature outside. So where does the warmth come from? The answer is you. In this scenario, the human body is both the engine and the furnace keeping the whole system running. Your body is a machine that's constantly burning energy, constantly emitting heat at about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, simply by being alive and breathing. When you're outside in the open, the wind steals that heat instantly. It vanishes into the atmosphere, leaving you frozen. But inside the igloo, magic happens, thanks to those white walls. Snow has a fantastic property. It's highly reflective. The same way snow reflects sunlight, it also reflects the heat radiating from your body. Instead of the walls absorbing your warmth, they bounce it back toward the center of the space, again and again. You become your own heating source, recycling your own thermal energy in a continuous loop. This effect multiplies when there are more people with you. Imagine an Inuit family of 4 or 5 people sharing the small space of an igloo. Suddenly, you have 5 human radiators running at full power. It's the same sensation you get when you step into a crowded elevator. The air warms up just from human presence. In the Arctic, that accumulated heat is what makes the difference between life and death. Historically, the Inuit amplified this body heat with a very simple technology called a quillic. Not a big fireplace, but a small stone lamp that burns seal or whale fat as fuel, with moss as a wick. The flame it produces is small and steady, like a large candle. It might seem insufficient to heat a house in the coldest place on Earth, but thanks to the extreme insulation of the snow, that's all you need. That tiny flame, combined with body heat, can raise the interior temperature incredibly. While the storm rages outside at -40 degrees Fahrenheit, inside you can be comfortably at 60 degrees Fahrenheit. We're talking about a temperature difference of nearly 100 degrees, created with nothing but snow and animal fat. But to keep this heat trapped inside and prevent it from escaping every time someone enters, you need intelligent design. And this is where igloo architecture proves to be a masterpiece. If you could see a cross-section of an igloo, you'd realize the floor isn't flat. The entrance is never at the same level where people actually live. The Inuit designed the entrance as a tunnel dug below the main floor level. This is done to exploit a basic law of physics. Cold air weighs more than warm air. Think of cold air like a thick liquid. When freezing air from outside tries to enter, it seeks the lowest point because of its weight. By having the entrance as a low tunnel, the cold sinks and gets trapped in that pit, far away from the living area. This tunnel acts like an invisible plug, preventing the frozen current from flooding the house. On the other hand, warm air is light and always wants to rise toward the ceiling. That's why the interior of an igloo is organized in raised levels or terraces. The sleeping platform is built using snow blocks higher than the entrance. By elevating the sleeping area, the inhabitants strategically position themselves at the top of the dome, where all the warm air generated by their bodies accumulates. It's a heating system that doesn't need electricity, it just uses gravity to separate comfortable air from deadly air. Sometimes it gets so warm up there that it's common to see the Inuit resting in light clothing, while outside, the cold would kill anyone in minutes. But now we arrive at the final paradox. We've created a perfect shelter: insulating walls, human heating, cold trap, airtight seal. But it's precisely that perfection that can kill you. Imagine you're sleeping peacefully. The igloo has sealed all its cracks with ice over time. The igloo becomes an airtight bag. Fresh air stops entering. Your body consumes oxygen and exhales carbon dioxide. The lamp also devours oxygen. If the igloo had no ventilation, the air would become toxic. You wouldn't notice because it doesn't smell like anything and you don't feel cold. You just start getting sleepy from oxygen deprivation. It's a silent death. You fall asleep warm, but you never wake up. The shelter becomes your tomb by working too well. That's why the final detail of Inuit engineering is a simple hole. At the top of the dome, they always leave a small opening about the size of a coin. This hole acts as a safety chimney. It allows stale air and excess moisture to escape. As warm air exits through the top, it creates suction that forces fresh air to enter from the tunnel below. It's constant ventilation that maintains balance, retain heat to avoid freezing, but let just enough escape to avoid suffocation. Here's what blows my mind about this whole thing. The Inuit developed this technology thousands of years ago. No computers, no engineering degrees, no thermal imaging cameras, just observation, trial and error, and deep understanding of natural laws. They looked at the deadliest environment on Earth and asked, how can we use its own weapons against it? Snow wants to freeze you? Fine, we'll trap air inside it and make it protect us instead. Cold air sinks? Perfect. We'll dig our entrance low and let gravity be our door. Body heat escapes? Great. We'll build reflective walls that bounce it back. Too much seal kills us? No problem. We'll punch a hole in the roof. It's elegant, it's brilliant, and it worked for centuries. Today, modern survival experts still teach igloo construction because the physics haven't changed. The principles are eternal. But here's the part that really matters for us, sitting in our heated homes right now. This story isn't just about igloos. It's about understanding systems. Every survival solution creates new problems. Perfect insulation creates suffocation risk. Complete seal creates toxic buildup. Maximum efficiency creates invisible danger. The Inuit understood something we often forget in our modern world. There's no such thing as a perfect system without consequences. Every solution requires balance. Every extreme requires a release valve. They didn't just build houses of snow, they built a philosophy of equilibrium. And that tiny hole at the top, that's not a flaw in the design, that's the most important part of the design. Because survival isn't about creating perfection, it's about creating sustainable balance. The next time you feel cold, remember, you don't always need modern technology to stay warm. Sometimes you just need to understand nature deeply enough to make it work for you instead of against you. The Inuit learned to use the rules of physics to turn snow, their greatest enemy, into their greatest ally. If you enjoyed discovering the secrets behind these incredible structures, hit that subscribe button. We've got many more stories where science and curiosity collide in unexpected ways. See you in the next one.